Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Allyz podcast community. Welcome. If you are here, is because you're a consumer who's looking for information and you want to make wise decisions. And that's why the Allyz Community Podcast was founded. My name is Juan Rodriguez. I'm the host. We started Allyz Podcast due to the need of seeing in the Central Florida community that a lot of our customers were always asking us for advice on how to deal with their insurance claims needs. We are in the auto industry. I own and manage a body shop called Allyz Auto. And as I progress, many of our customers keep asking us, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? Who can I use? And I'm like, you know something? I believe it will be greatly beneficial for our community to have a podcast. And I thought about that several years ago. And in 2023, we decided to launch it. So we are here. So welcome. Hopefully you get great value out of the content that we provided. I hope you see we're doing it with the best heart in mind. We are doing it for the right reasons, for the right people. And that's the Florida consumers and anybody else in the country and our team, because our team deserves to get better wages, better treatment, and life quality of work. And that's why we started the Allyz Community Podcast. Today, we're going to have I believe it's going to be one of the most special podcasts for me. Why? Because we're starting a new series. It's going to be the horror stories from a loyal insurance customers. And our first customer that is going to be interviewed by this person is Jonathan Torres. Welcome, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me. I wish it were under more positive circumstances, but I think that this information has been needing to get out sooner
Yes,
rather than later. So I'm glad to be
yes,
here. Thank you.
yes, yes. And that's why when I decided to start this series, I was like, who can I call? And to bless me, the first phone call I make, he's like, yes, I want to sow into the community. And that was Jonathan Torres. So thank
Let's
you
do it.
very
Thank
much.
you. Let's do it.
So, like, man, can you please tell the community a little bit about yourself? What do you do? How long you been here in Orlando?
Sure, sure. So I've been in Orlando since 2004. I work in the software design space. I've taken a private interest in cars and nice cars. I wasn't always that way. I remember having a beat up Honda Civic with a broken shift knob and no AC. And so a lot of that, that pain and suffering from having old cars to now being a little bit older and being able to have something nice. I take pride in my vehicles. I expect good work done for them. I expect them to be looking good at all times, take good pride in them. And so uh, naturally, I chose when I first went on this journey, I searched for the best shops in the area, and formerly Color Recon, now Allyz Auto,
Yep.
was one of the top shops with some of the most reviews and the most stars. And I was like, well, they're really consistent. Let me check them out, and haven't looked back since.
That was back on 2018. I got some notes
Yeah.
here,
Hmm.
and that was a Lexus GS 350, and it
Hmm.
was a 2013, so a fairly new vehicle. And you filed a claim with our help. And this is amazing, consumers. This customer has been with us 5 times, and none of the accidents have been his fault.
Yeah.
So this is not somebody who's a reckless driver. No, he's a professional, blue collar professional that works really hard, that is a productive citizen of this city of Orlando, and he's insured by the top insurance companies. First claim was with Geico,
Hmm.
and that was back on 2018. And we repaired the car. Car was in the shop for about 7 days, and that was a pretty smooth transaction.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's amazing how before COVID things were different. So
Hmm.
then on 2021, no, in 2020, the same vehicle that we repaired, that one was involved in a total loss. How was that experience of the total loss? The first total loss that we did for you, and that was with Geico Insurance, Jonathan.
Right. Thanks. Yeah. That one was an interesting one. I was I had a vehicle pull out in front of me at night with no headlight, with no working tail lights or brake lights, and instead of like, pulling out to make the right, I was in the left lane. He pulled out as I'm coming, and he got right in front of me. I couldn't stop. I mashed the brakes as hard as I could. I held on, and I mean, I thought I was pushing the brake pedal like through the floor. I was pressing so hard, but it was just no way to stop. I didn't anticipate him coming in front of me, so I rear-ended him. That was a total loss, and that was fairly easy. If I recall correctly, the car wasn't in the shop for a terribly long time. It was
Yeah.
pretty much they
It
looked
looked
at the
like they
estimate.
settled it fairly quickly. Were
Hmm.
you able to get a fair settlement from the get-go,
Yeah,
or the
yes,
19 was able to help you to get that settlement?
it was a great settlement. There was nothing wrong with that at all. That was good.
Awesome. So, and let me ask you, because I know on the last one you had a DVR in your car. On
Mm,
this accident on 2020, did you had a DVR?
I did not.
So that, I bet that was the reason why you end up installing a DVR in your car, right?
And I'll say this, I'll yell this from the mountaintops. Anybody who is a driver in Florida and has the means, spend a couple $100 and get a dash cam professionally installed, front and rear facing.
Yep.
Very important note. It is mandatory. There are a lot of people that drive around here with no insurance, underinsured, and accidents happen. It's best to just protect yourself. My dash cam has paid for itself plenty of times over, as we'll soon get into.
And you know something, Jonathan, now through this testimonial, I just put in my notes, I need to make a podcast just for that.
Oh
Because
yeah.
you're one of the stories that, thanks to those DVRs, you've been able to prove, because unfortunately, there's no more ethics. And
Mhm.
people, they just want to shift the liability to whoever they can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know you've been an expert witness of that.
Oh yeah.
And so then after 2020, you got your settlement. The insurance company did what it was supposed to,
Hmm.
pay you for a fair settlement
Hmm.
of your vehicle, so you were able to replace it.
Right.
But you made a decision to switch insurance carriers. And from Geico, he moved to State Farm.
Mm.
And I hate to say this, customers, I told him not to do it.
You did. You even gave me a list of other ones that you recommended.
And what happened on that 2021 and 2021, that we service you on the right side damages on that beautiful GS350 that you had? It was a brand new 2016 for you, but that was a nice car.
It was a nice car. It was a good spec. It was an F Sport. Had the flake in the paint. It was a beautiful car.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so that one, this one was damage on the right side,
Yeah.
right? Yes, I remember this. So this was,
We were able to repair it, but the car was in the shop for over a month
oh,
because, unfortunately, the good neighbor didn't do their job.
right,
So
right.
please enlighten us how a customer will guide through this, and hopefully how the Allyz Auto team did to help you.
Right. So the damage on the door was significant. The manufacturer like recommended standard for repair is would require an amount of work that to do right you would want to follow the manufacturer's guidelines.
And they wanted us to install junkyard doors in your car, on that beautiful black car.
And I mentioned that the paint had flake in it. It was a good looking paint. And the reason for that is because if you have some junkyard door slapped onto your car and you have mismatching paint, you're going to see that. And as somebody, as I alluded to earlier, who takes some pride in their cars and is kind of a car aficionado, I'm not going to want a junkyard door put on my Lexus that's going to look different in the sun, maybe look different in the shade.
And
So,
the main thing is the texture. When you have so much paint already and you're putting paint on top, it
mm,
creates an excessive buildup And especially on a black car like yours, I remember explaining all this to you. It's going to give you issues. So the process will be stripping the door and doing all this nightmare that it's not worth it. It's not cost effective. So that's why we told the insurance company you need new doors to put them on and do all the proper safety inspections. And I remember they didn't budge,
No,
and
they
that's
did
when
not.
it became painful for you.
Very painful. So I'll just add, like anybody who's going through this, you don't have your car, you have to drive a rental. Nobody likes driving cars that aren't even theirs, they don't even own. So I'm driving around in rental cars. This whole time I'm already upset and frustrated, but what they had to really what it seemed like they would do was just drag their heels and drag and as we get more into this, you'll see a pattern of they kind of just take their time, you know. Oh, we send people out as soon as we can. Well, that's in 3 days. Well, we don't work weekends. So 3 business days, you may get 2 visits from an estimator. So they strung us along for a long time, and ultimately I had to make a choice. Did I want and by the way, under all this pressure, I had to make the choice. So it's like, oh my God, I'm paying for the rental and everything. Do you want Allyz Auto? And Juan gave me a choice. Do you want us to kind of just go with what they're willing to pay and use some scrap parts and slap this thing together? I'll do the best I can, but you just know that this wasn't an OEM manufacturer's recommended repair. Or, unfortunately, I can give you an estimate or an amount that you have to pay to cover the difference from what the insurance is willing to pay. And I believe at that time it was over $3,000.
Yeah, that was a good short pay.
Right.
That it was hefty, and I was actually wow. I can't believe this customer believes in us that much.
Yeah. And you would imagine, like, so I'm privileged that I was even able to part ways with over $3,000 to get my car fixed properly. But I love the car and I wanted it done right.
Hmm.
And most folks, and myself included, just a couple of years prior, I wouldn't have been able to pay that. I would just have to say, well, Juan, I'm sorry, I got to do what the insurance says, and just gone with what was recommended. And it's very unfortunate, but um, that's just kind of how it ended up shaking out. So I ended up parting way with 3 grand. It hurt. All right. I was skeptical, Juan. I'm looking at him like,
Am I
I don't
ever
like,
gonna see my 3 grand back?
yeah, am I ever going to see my money back? But Juan and Allyz Auto, they managed to connect me with an attorney who was able to take this case to them and demand that they pay me back for that. Months later, I mean, this took months to get done, but eventually State Farm came clean and ended up paying me that money back, which was vindicating, but at the same time frustrating that we had to go to those extremes just to get my car fixed the right way.
I know that is so heartbreaking, and we deal with it every day. And we sometimes the customer thinks that we don't have a heart, but it's like, hey, we see it every day. Just pay the short pay, go after them, and you'll see you get paid. We'll coach you through the process,
Hmm.
and the key is having that coach in your corner that is going to help you and give you some options, because some of them are less painful than others. Sometimes we tell the customer, don't even hire an attorney. If you got the time, you got the resources, just go to the court and do it yourself. But not everybody has that. Jonathan took the second best choice. I believe it's the best choice. Just pay the short pay, hire an attorney, he'll do it. Thank God at that moment on 2021, we have the all laws that consumers like you on that position were able to get their attorney fees if they win. And knock on wood, thank God, over all our customers, none of them lost a case. Why? Because we do things right. We document everything, and I tell the attorneys these cases are handled to you in a silver platter. They're a slam dunk because why?
Hmm.
It's all documented. We know what we're doing. We're experts on this, and he was able to hire Irving Law. And Irving Law has a couple of podcasts. We're gonna put them on the description too. So you can see that's one of my allies that we have worked beside him helping other customers like many like Jonathan, and he was able to
Mhm.
receive his short pay
Yep.
back to him.
Yep.
He was
Eh,
whole the way it
Yeah.
should have been.
And I'll add, if I can, uh, the entire time, State Farm, it felt like they had all the control and all of the time in the world and all of the funds in the world. Most of us, we don't have time to deal with this. We have kids, we have families, work, school. We're busy men and women and productive members of society. Why are we having to go through these hoops when the insurance company has to go through zero hoops to take the money right out of your bank account every month on the same day at the same time? They'll take the money out, and even in the past, often you could pay your 6 month premium at once and save money. They don't even do that anymore. They don't even offer that anymore. So it just seems to me like they have everything in their favor, and us as the consumers, we're very fall victim to whatever they dictate, and we'll unpack more of that as we go on.
Yeah, and unfortunately, laws got changed in this year, and on 2023,
Mm,
uh, Jonathan, that beautiful GS 350 that we fixed for him, that he paid the short pay, the $3,000 short pay. He was happy with his car, and a dump truck decided to sideswipe him.
yep,
Not his fault again.
merged right into me. Didn't even look. No signal. Didn't look. Merged right on top of me.
Did you had a DVR on that
Oh, I
one?
did. At that point, I definitely did.
Awesome. So that saves a lot of argumentation. So
Well, it also
consider
saves
buy
time.
a DVR, and we can install them if you don't find a good installer for you.
Oh, I can't stress that enough. So we were waiting for the police for almost 2 hours, and you're trying to establish who's at fault, waiting for the police officer to establish that. But they're for whatever reason they weren't available that time. But having the dash cam, I didn't even have to wait. All I did was collect the other driver's insurance information. We exchanged information, and filed the claim to State Farm, attached a video showing exactly what happened, and there was nothing to dispute. No questions as to who was at fault because
Mhm.
the dash cam showed it all.
That's awesome. But as it happens, because it's a horror story, on this one, it was a significant accident.
Yeah.
This vehicle had over $23,000 worth of damage to repair it. And I'm going to say this, and I re-emphasize on this. A car repair following manufacturer's guidelines, everything done to the T, is pretty expensive. And that is a good industry standard following the manufacturer standards to repair, not the low industry standards of the insurance companies. But let me ask you, Jonathan, when you bought that policy from State Farm, was that a subpar policy or industry standard policy?
Obviously, it was the industry standard.
It should be industry standard, right? But they
Right.
wanted us to fix that car with the low industry subpar standards.
Hmm.
Oh, buddy, and that one was
Mm, that was very bad, very bad. But their standards for withdrawing account your funds every month for your account, those standards are unmissably, unmistakable, crystal clear. Whatever you pay per month will be withdrawn on this date. If it's not, you lose your license, you can't drive, you get a ticket. If you get caught, you can go to jail.
so compare the total loss mitigation that happened before COVID with Geico, now dealing on 2023 with State Farm. How was it, Jonathan?
Hmm. It was very painful. They drug it out to the point where just the gray hair sprouted faster than the spring leaves. I mean, we were talking how long was it? Weeks, if not months.
The car spent a month at the shop.
Yeah,
Typically, a total loss mitigation could be a week or two tops.
yeah.
Um, how low did they start it? How first they didn't want to total it.
No, they wanted to repair it for like I think it was like $9,000, something laughable. I
Yes.
think it's like, dude, the whole side of the car is destroyed. What do you mean $9,000?
And then that's when we educated you, empower you with the rights as a consumer, and you were able to get them to finally total loss the vehicle.
It was like on a Friday at 4 p.m.
Yes. That happens all the time. They want to
Yeah.
get the car in a Friday so they don't have to pay for storage and fees for the weekend. Like it's gonna matter. The car has been here for a month,
Yes.
and they want to get it out. And you were able to get your settlement on that one. How was the settlement? It was a fair settlement?
It was a very fair settlement. So, having been weeks dealing back and forth with State Farm, the lack of communication, the drug out timelines, the just the overall heartache that I was going through. When it came to the total loss department, they're pretty good. I'll give State Farm this. Their total loss team, they're very fair. What
So
was
once
fun
you declare a total, it's
goes to
not
another
that
team.
bad.
Yeah, because it goes to another team. I think they're different. They're different departments. So there's like the repair, the physical injury, the personal injury, and then the total loss departments. This
Yes.
repair department is a nightmare, and unfortunately, this is the department that I think most people are going to have to deal with.
Yes.
It's just a nightmare. But once it got to the total loss portion, they gave me a very fair value on the car, very fair. It was at the time I'd purchased the car before COVID. After COVID and after this wacky economy where used car prices and values shot through the roof, I got a great settlement.
Yeah. And let me ask you, who guided you through the process to learn how to negotiate a total loss?
That was Allyz Auto. Yeah, yeah, that was
Awesome.
definitely you, and Juan was very instrumental in giving me the information that I needed from a business standpoint because you kind of got to look at it how they look at things as a business, right? Very black and white, very numbers oriented. It doesn't matter if that car was your late grandfather's car that you had emotional value to. What the market decides it's worth is what they're going to pay, not a dollar more, not a dollar less, hopefully. And Juan did a great job giving me the tools, information to
This
get
is
through
what
that.
we tell the consumer. You got to set emotions to the side and you got to think logical.
Hmm.
And we are in your side. We're going to be the allied on your corner. We're going to be here for you. So as long as you don't throw the towel, we're going to give you all the ammunition because you have all the muscle. The consumer has all the rights.
Hmm.
And the key of a good repair facility that has your best interest in as a priority, they're going to do that. Unfortunately, that shop is going to be blacklisted from the insurance company's list. And that's why we tell our customers, hey, what do you want to do? You want to check our reviews. Please read the negative ones because if you identify yourself with one of those negative ones, that means you're not my customer because you either want us to work for free, you're sizing with the insurance company, you don't believe in what we're telling you, and you know something, it's better to not be bringing your car to us because we're never going to be able to please you. You don't have the right expectations. So we're not going to be a good fit. And that's why we offer consultations to confirm that we are a good fit for the consumer. And good consumers is somebody who's going to be coachable and teachable, and they understand that a premium repair comes with a premium price. And sometimes insurance companies, even though that you didn't sign for a subpar repair, substandard policy, they will treat you and try to bully you to accept that. And if the shop doesn't hold you accountable, so you can hold accountable to the insurance company, they're just going to go the hassle free way, which is lying to you, cheating you, and deceiving you from a proper and safe repair. And they're going to put junkyard doors on your car. They're going to put replica counterfeit knockoff parts. And then when you pick up your car, gaps don't fit, performance is not going to be the same. And then you're the one who's going to live with the consequences. And that's why we are educating the consumer so they can make good informed decisions. So, Jonathan, then after you part apart with that, I know it was hard for you with the
Okay.
GS 350 because it was an F version
Mhm.
on July of this year.
I
You
got PTSD
you
already.
you bought a brand new Lexus IF 500F. And
Yep.
I remember we ceramic coated that vehicle for you. It was a beautiful purchase. And not even a month later, right? Couple of months. How long did you drew with the car?
I had the car for less than 3 months.
Yeah, because you bought it in month four.
Hmm.
By month seven, you bought it on April. By July, somebody hit and run your vehicle.
Yep. Yep. Somebody hit and ran
What went through your mind when that happened?
a lot. It was a shocking experience. I was hit very hard. Suffered immediate back pain. It was a truck that hit me at a light, rear-ended, and then they drove off. Um, the vehicle outwardly, you would think it was okay, and it was not. Just as you can outwardly look at me and be like, "Oh, he's okay," but internally, in my back, in my mid back, I am not.
And the car did its job to keep you as safe as possible. It was a pretty hefty impact where the rear doors didn't open on the car. And on a new vehicle, 2023,
Yep.
that is engineered to absorb all that impact. Typically, on an impact, the doors close perfect, but these doors didn't even close correctly.
No.
And we wrote, he made the call, hey Juan, I got into an accident. I'm like, oh my God, brand new car. That broke my heart because I know that's not the way that I like seeing my customers. I like to see them when they bring me referrals or they stop by to say hi.
Yeah.
And I told him, did you switch insurance? And what did you say?
Man, I was too wrapped up in the new car. I put an exhaust on it. I had it ceramic coated. I got it tinted. I got the dash cams installed. I put the all-weather mats. It was 3 months. And I'll say I had open on my tab in my browser, oh, a bunch of quotes from a bunch of different insurance companies, and I was ready to jump ship after the nightmare that I went through with the last accident
Unfortunately, he's still insured with State Farm.
at the time of the accident. Yeah.
And I told Jonathan, no, it's July 2023. Our governor just changed the laws on May. We are screwed on this one. We are
Oh,
screwed, Jonathan. I'm like, I don't know how we're going to be able to help you on this one, but let's see. But
man, the floodgates open.
he trusts the process and he trusts us. Guys, it took about a month. But State Farm on this one, they definitely threw the ball out of the park on this one.
Oh, oh,
We provided it all the documentation, supporting documentation that the unibody structure was damaged, and they still fought us that they wanted to fix the car that had over $30,000 worth of damage. How much did they saw in damages, Jonathan?
so what was funny or interesting is after the accident, the police officer, when they take down the report, you have to tell them how much you think the damages were, right? I looked at it. Juan explained to me at the shop after he ceramic coated the car, said, Jonathan, if you get hit, do not get hit in the rear fender because the rear fender connects one piece through the roof line, the whole roof, the side pillars to the windows, and then back to the other fender. It is one piece. You do not want to damage that. Lo and behold, after the accident, I saw and noted that the rear left fender wasn't just a bumper and trunk, but the rear left fender had been pushed and it was shoved so far forward, like you alluded, that the door didn't shut. So I knew, I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good. When the officer asked me, he said, how much you think it's worth? I said, it's probably like $30,000 in damages here, easily. And I'm not a mechanic. I'm not, I'm just a software guy, right? But I can tell that this doesn't look good at all. The whole thing was shifted forward. So I was like, about 30,000 in damages. State Farm's initial estimate for the damages were somewhere in the area of $12,000. I
That's crazy.
I was like, he's not even going to remove. He can't even get to the roof for under $12,000.
That
And
didn't even cover the parts that is needed.
it was very bad. It was a laughably low estimate from the lovely young lady that came in and put the estimate together.
Yes. She was really nice, really cordial, but
Mhm,
unfortunately, no idea on acting in good faith with the consumer.
mhm.
So they told you that the vehicle could be repaired for the $12,000 at one of the direct repair shops.
Right.
So I coached Jonathan, get it in writing. Let's make sure they commit to that.
Hmm.
And with the understanding that they need to pay a final bill for all service rendered at our shop. He executed it, the directions to the T. State Farm committed. Once the vehicle got moved to that shop, what happened, Jonathan?
Well, can I bring us back just a little
Sure.
bit? I want to kind of like I want us to kind of really get in nice and cozy in the sauna of despair together that I was in, because between what you just stated and the initial estimate, like I said, they would Juan would try to give them an accurate estimate. They say, "Oh, we don't believe this estimate to be accurate. We need to send one of our guys out." Okay, so they don't work weekends and they only work business day weekdays from 9 to 5. We'll send someone out. Well, every time that we would submit an estimate, they would say, "Well, we need to have somebody come confirm it." By then, you're looking at 7 business days, a week and a half of back and forth between them sending someone to confirm the estimate. They changed the estimate after sending someone out twice. They changed the estimate from about 12,000 to 15,000, which was laughable as a joke. And this whole time, and I just really want the consumer to understand this, you're without your car, you're paying on your car, and you're in a rental vehicle that you now may or may not reach the limit of what your policy covers. You may end up having to pay out of pocket every day that the vehicle is in your you're in the rental vehicle.
And actually, on this one, you exceeded the 30 days, right?
I exceeded the 30 days. I exceeded the budget. And then when I asked them for an extension because you guys are dragging your heels on getting this thing fixed or totaled, they said, "Oh no, you have a limit of X amount of money. It's up to you. You can contact the other person's insurance company." And I'm like, what am I like? Am I an insurance broker or something? Like, I'm not gonna go contact this people's insurance company and ask them to pay for my rental bill. And so it's just like it seems like State Farm has the luxury of time where us normal consumers we don't. And for us and many of us, I think time equals money. We have to work, pay bills, keep moving, drop the kids off, get the food, do this and that. State Farm can take 3 days to send someone out to confirm your estimate repair, only to come back and say, "Yeah, we'll add an extra $200." And quite frankly, it was disrespectful because you look at this and you're like, "My shop is saying this is 30 plus $1,000 in repair. You're telling me it's less than half?" Very well. What we can do and what the insurance company said was, You can send it to one of our repair shops." And stop me if I'm rambling, Juan, but there's something else I want to touch on here.
Go ahead.
Before we even got into the position to talk about using you guys to fix using Allyz Auto to fix my car, I was on a call with the insurance adjuster. She informed me that this shop, heads up, this shop is a shop that we believe acts in bad faith and they are not on our recommended shops. I said, interesting. What do you mean? Well, they're known to charge more than what is required to repair the vehicle. So if there are any charges that are over what we're willing to pay, you may be responsible for that. And by the way, we're going to send you a document that explains that you have to sign and agree to. All I'll say is that on that document, there's a whole lot of maze. Nothing is nothing is you must, you have to. It's a lot of maze. So it's a very vague
I
as to
remember that phone call when you sent me that letter.
and so it felt kind of like a shakedown, like, oh, you can take it to your guys, but just heads up, from what we know, they're on our blacklist, and we don't recommend them because they act in bad faith. And I'm thinking in my head, I've been a customer to this shop for since 2018, and they've always served me well. I've always gotten my car fixed, and when I see my car, it looks like it was never in an accident. There's no orange peel, there's no overspray. It's always a perfectly done job. So for you to tell me that something's wrong with this shop, I find that very strange. And I also find it strange that they send you a legal, like a document supposed to scare you that you have to sign to kind of scare you away from using that shop. Well, it didn't work for me.
Wow. And that's why consumers, I love having this platform now because I'll be able to put it on the internet. And when I have customers that are a little on the fence after the consultation, I'm going to tell them, hey, watch this video. And he's going to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing the right things for the right reasons for the right people. The only people that don't like us is the insurance companies that don't act in good faith. And the people who expect us to do either something illegal or something unethical. We're not going to commit fraud just to help a customer. We don't do fraud. We do everything by the book. We, if it's right for you, it has to be right for the insurance company, and we make sure it's a righteous transaction. So, Jonathan, thank you for blessing us with your testimony. What ended up happening
Right.
once the car got moved to the direct repair shop that they recommended?
Well, no, it gets better. So in all this time and this back and forth communication, so like, I'm calling the shop, I'm calling insurance, I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen here. They say you can move it to one of our shops in our network, and they can look at it and do that. Again, I want everybody to understand that the days are just knocking off between these processes.
I
This is
remember you were out of rental.
you're out of rental, and so just keep that in your mind as you are paying daily for this. They end up saying, okay, we'll move it to one of our shops and have them do an estimate.
Which was what shop?
Classic Collision.
Classic Collision.
And I chose Classic Collision because of their list of shops, they had decent reviews. So I was like, if anything, like, if they do get it fixed, this shop has some good review, like good number of work, good reviews. I'm not that close to the industry, so I don't know. But if I have to, pick, I'll pick these guys.
Plus, you have the assurance that we offer you a free post repair inspection. And
Correct.
we told you, Jonathan, as soon as the car is done, if they fix it for the 12K, trust me, ain't gonna be pretty. They're gonna end up buying that car back.
Bring it right back. Yep.
So he had the assurance that we were gonna be, even though that he parted from us, we were going to be beside him because that's our promise for our community. We want to make sure they're safe and the financial well-being is taken care of. So
Right.
he's like, all right, you don't want to use the shop, let's get the car moved. They pay us for our service, render it. He went to Classic Collision,
Right.
and then what happened there?
They were great. I'll say Classic Collision, very nice people. They took the car. They were very great customer service. They were good. They were good. They looked at the car, and the manager calls me directly, and he says, I don't know what their estimator is seeing that is not seeing that I'm seeing, because your frame of your vehicle is bent all the way up into the rear passenger seating area. He went into great detail to explain to me how this is a unibody vehicle and that the repair would require extensive, like, welding and replacement of critical structural components. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's pretty much in my head. I'm thinking, oh, that's exactly what Juan told me from Allyz Auto. I mean, and again, ladies and gentlemen, days are ticking off because to get the estimate and to get State Farm to agree to it, it would take days to send somebody to review, even from their process, from their preferred shop. So the days are just ticking off. And I'm like sitting here in limbo wondering what's going to happen.
Right.
Ultimately, the repair cost came in at north of $40,000 before suspension work.
And the beauty of it is, a lot of people in this industry know me, especially in this town, and they call me, and a lot of them they tell me, "Hey, I wish I could do what you do, but what you do is way too hard. We can, you're facing Goliath,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like, "Hey, I understand, but I take care of my customers." So before that car left, I called somebody at that corporation, and I told them, just to let you know, if that vehicle gets repaired, it's coming straight to my shop. And if it's not repaired correctly, you guys gonna be buying that car back. So if you're gonna guys gonna repair it, make sure it's repaired correctly.
Hmm. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
God, management heard it, and they were able to have somebody look at the car correctly because they knew that the car was coming to our shop for for a post repair inspection. So they were able to write off the car. State Farm pretty much saw that, hey, without shadow of a doubt, now it's a total. But you know something, Jonathan? Imagine if you were not in this position, and they would have treated that car like any other car,
Mm.
that the consumer is not informed and empowered. They would have pulled it, they would have put some junkyard parts, and they would have fixed it, and you will not notice it. A 2023. And this is what happens. The contracted shop, if they get the car and they think they can just make it look good, presentable for the consumer, even though that is not safe, they make money doing that. And they get tons of referrals because they do that. If they said this car is a total, they don't make a dime. They make very little money. So it's not in their best interest to do an accurate damage analysis, to tell the consumer and tell the insurance company this is what the car really needs.
Hmm.
They got to watch for severity.
Right.
So, but thank that I made a couple of phone calls and I was able to expose and try to help them really, because I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for you, Jonathan,
Right.
because I know the pain you were enduring. You bought a brand new 2023. The last thing that I
Oh,
wanted is you to have a butcher Frankenstein, that you own it and the diminished value was going to be drastically. And then I was the one who's going to have to deal with it if something ever happened. So here we go, folks. This is chapter one of the series, The Horror Stories from Loyal Insurance Customers at
and
Allied.
just to and and one thing, if you just to put a nice pin on the wound, uh when it came time to total the car out, and the total loss department, again, great, they gave me the total value of the vehicle, that of the fair market value, which was pretty much brand new. It was like 3 months old. They gave me every dollar, um but the ceramic coating, the exhaust, the tinted windows, the tinted windshield, any of these other things that I put onto the vehicle, they have the pleasure of saying no, we don't have to cover that because those are elected options, they're optional, and so they're not covered by your insurance policy.
Yep, and that's why you need to read your policy. Some policies have a provision up to $1,000. It all depends. If not, you got to get what is called a rider for accessories and extra add-ons into the car.
Right. Right.
Um, but we still have fight on that one. I believe we're going to help you to. with your efforts of recovering that, because I believe it's righteously owed to you.
I agree.
Typically, what I've seen, most policies have about $1,000 at least for that. They didn't even give you what did they offer you for that?
Nothing. I think it
No.
was like $30 for the tent.
So we'll see. We're still gonna try to empower you and coach you through that.
Yeah.
So, any closing thoughts to a customer who's watching this podcast, and they're like, "Man, do I really want to listen to the insurance company? Where should I take the car, or
Yeah.
should I just freak out when they tell me that I shouldn't go to Allyz Auto, that I should not go to an independent shop?"
A big thing that I noticed was there were times where I was doubting Juan myself. I would look at my wife and I would say, "Babe,
One,
babe, is what is happening? These people, they don't want to pay. They say it's this much, they say it's that much." And it puts you in a mental space where it's very easy to attack Juan or your initial shop. It's very easy to look at them as they are screwing me over. But if you understand that as a business owner, as a business here, as a guy who's paying the bills, who has a business, who's in here to put food on his family's table, if you can look at it from that standpoint, it makes sense that he has to take actions to protect himself against an insurance company that is doing a great job of painting him as the person who is doing something wrong when in fact he's looking out in your best interest. So I would just say, um, find a shop, if not Allyz Auto, but make sure you trust them and know that the insurance companies, they have all the leverage, they have all the time, they have all the money, and all of us, your shop, Allyz Auto, Juan, myself, the consumer, we're all kind of at their mercy this year because of certain legislations, more so than previously. And it's just you really got to have that trust, and also get a dash cam. You're crazy if
yes,
you don't.
that is super important. Like you read my mind. It's like, get a dash cam, get referrals on people that actually file claims with an insurance company, and they have their car post repair inspected.
Right.
You're gonna see how they were treated, because 97% of the consumers are being deceived. They're driving cars that are unsafe, shoddy repairs. I see them every day
Hmm.
because it works, and it's not going to change, folks. It's going to get worse. So that's why ones shops like us, DB Orlando Collision, and a couple of others that are trying to do what's right for the consumer in the state of Florida, you gotta shop wisely.
Yeah.
Never take advice on how to collect money from the person that owes it to you. That's my advice.
Solid.
And come for a consultation, visit us, take shop tours when you visit body shops. And hey, I tell my customers, leave us for last, because you're gonna experience the difference when you come to our shop. From the moment you stepped into that parking lot, you're gonna see the difference.
Right.
And we are all about serving you, the consumer, not the insurance company. And we're gonna treat you fairly, same way we're gonna treat them. But would your car deserve the best? You deserve the best, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's gonna live with the consequences. So take it from our loyal customer, Jonathan Torres. He learned the hard way,
Yeah.
but
Thank you.
since 2018, we've been able to help him through this journey of 5 car claims, none of them his fault,
Hmm.
with two of the top carriers in the country. And we were able to help. We were the ally on his corner, and he was able to protect his rights as a consumer. So, Jonathan, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know I bet this therapy worked to release the PTSD that you have.
Just let it off my chest.
I bring some closure, and I hope you change carriers soon,
100%.
because we don't
Yes.
want that beautiful Cadillac that you have now
Oh
get
yeah.
into an accident and
Yeah.
being have to deal with State Farm. If you insure with State Farm, and today is October 18, 2023, I will look into switching to a better insurance company. They're just running on their legacy that they had for many years, but they have become the worst one. At least that's my professional expert opinion. Juan Rodriguez from Allyz Auto, and you can call me at 678-3368. I will certify it. Hundreds of files saying that, and unfortunately, we deal with it every day. So,
Me
thank you
too.
very much. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, share this content. Other persons will appreciate it. And thank you again, Jonathan, for helping our consumers to understand that sometimes you endure some pain, but it's worth sharing it with others so they learn from your story.
Learn from my mistakes. I'll say it. Don't do what I did. Learn from my mistakes. Trust Allies Auto.
Awesome. Have a wonderful day. Be blessed. Bye bye.
Bye bye.